Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to GNR Central. And we got some news for you guys today. So our interview with Doug Goldstein from a couple weeks ago made headlines on Alternative Nation. One of the things that Doug talked about was what he interpreted as Axl Rose's biggest mistake. And here's what he basically said. So the former Guns N' Roses manager, Doug Goldstein, talked with us for about an hour and a half. And he basically told Axl the mistake he made in relation to grunge bands like Pearl Jam and Nirvana's massive success and the appeal of their look and ethos. So Doug Goldstein said, "None of us knew it was coming," referring to the grunge movement. He said, in Axl's defense, he asked me one time, "What do you think is the biggest mistake I ever made?" To which Doug said, "Showing the fans your mansion," referring to the Estranged video. Then Doug went on to say, "Now you've got Nirvana and Pearl Jam wearing their lumberjack shirts and jeans, and it's just changed, right?" So Axl called him back and said, "You know what? I can't accept that." To which Doug said, "Why?" Axl said, "Because nobody told me that was happening." And he was right. That's something I should have been able to call out, and I didn't, and nobody saw it coming. So Axl, of course, was a huge fan of Nirvana, and his feud with his band was initiated by insults Kurt Cobain made in interviews. Soundgarden, of course, opened for GNR back in 91 and 92. And GNR currently performed Black Hole Sun for about a year and a half as part of their Not in This Lifetime tour. So if you guys want to see our entire interview with Doug, it's our second interview. I guess it'll be our third interview we've done with him, but it was really the second interview where we focused heavily on Guns N' Roses. I've put the link down below. So in the year 2000, Duff McKagan echoed the same kind of sentiment that Doug Goldstein did, and this was honestly one of Duff's most honest interviews he's ever done. I feel like if you did an interview with him today, he wouldn't be speaking the same way. So he was asked by the interviewer on Popular One, during that time, referring to the Use Your Illusion era, did you enjoy making those videos, or were they more Axl or the record company's ideas? To which he said they were all Axl's ideas, but there are 5 guys in the band and everyone's got an opinion. At that time, I think the record company was afraid of telling us not to do them, and they saw what was happening too. But then you were generating such big money that no one's telling you what you have to do. Oh well, it's done, and my take is if it were me, we would have never done those videos, but it was not in my hands. The interviewer said, especially you coming from a punk background, to which Duff said, "Yeah, all that shit about the limousine and that, come on, man, don't show your effing house and the limousine. You're going to alienate your fans. The fans of our first record were rednecks, punks, and rockers. We were at the street level, and suddenly everyone was bringing their parents to our shows. Like in November Rain, I loved the song, but the video, beautiful people, we became beautiful people." So Slash is also kicking off his tour with Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators. So they started playing some shows on Thursday in Singapore, and they've been doing a bunch of press as well. I'll cover that in another video, but Megan's been posting some footage of them in rehearsals. It's kind of weird, like whenever Slash rehearses with the Conspirators, there's like CNN in the background. Not exactly the most rock and roll thing, but I remember back in 2014 when they put World on Fire out, that's where the name of the album came from, because they'd be watching the news in 2014, and I think around that time you had the stuff in Ukraine going on. You had that missing airplane, that Malaysian airliner. And then that's kind of what inspired Slash to call the album World on Fire, because just everything seemed to be going wrong at that point in time. So to follow up on that amazing article that Art Tavanna wrote about Chinese democracy on Billboard.com, he also had some other interesting tidbits that maybe some people missed. He discussed the streaming numbers for Chinese democracy since the Not in This Lifetime tour began. So since the Not in This Lifetime tour began, Chinese democracy has sold 7,900 units, according to Nielsen, and that's pretty insignificant. However, the streams of the album, a total of all the songs on the album, have spiked from 8 million to 24 million. So it's a 300% jump, which is to say that Slash and Duff's endorsement and the tour has led to a notable increase in album streams. And the reunion bump has also tickled the imagination of music moguls and made Chinese democracy more of a curiosity for a new generation of fans. That wasn't the only thing that Doug talked about, and this also made the headlines on Alternative Nation, but the money splits revealed between the band and the ugly lawsuits. So Doug said publishing splits were 20-20-20 for Duff, Slash, and Izzy, and then 25 for Axl and 15 for Steven. That was a gift to Steven. I mean, Axl used to say it all the time. I wasn't around for the writing, but he was like, look, they're trying to force me into even splits. Steven never wrote anything, so he considered that a big gift to Steven. Goldstein also discussed Adler suing the band and how that hurt the possibility of him coming back after his dismissal in 1990. He said, I think had he not sued everybody, it would have been a possibility. But once that was thrown out there, it's amazing. Once you have to reach in your own pocket to spend money for legal defense and those big numbers. He said, I personally spent $500,000. We settled on the court steps, which means we didn't wait for the jury to come back. When you do that, they would do what's called a jury debriefing. So my attorney, God rest his soul, Howard King, got to go first, and the jury foreman stood up and said, the only question we have is your client married? To which Doug's lawyer said, I don't understand the relevance. To which he said, this guy didn't do anything wrong. We want him to marry our daughters. All he did was try to save this guy's life. Then Alan Niven's attorney came up, and they were going to crucify Niven because he was at the helm of it. The band didn't know. The band was following the lead of the manager and the attorney. Literally, all I was doing was taking Steven to different rehabs and trying to get him clean. Now, turning to some other Guns N' Roses news. So during New Year's, Duff McKagan and Frank, who lives in Jersey most of the time, was in LA for some reason. So maybe they're working on some kind of new music or some side project. But they spent New Year's Eve with Billie Joe Armstrong from Green Day. And this is a photo they took with Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. If you guys remember back in 1996, Duff and Matt Sorum joined forces with Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols. And they formed the Neurotic Outsiders. And it was a really great band. Unfortunately, they didn't really spend too much time together because Guns were getting back in the studio just before Slash left. So also at the same gig, they performed some songs. So members of Green Day and Guns N' Roses came together to celebrate New Year's Eve with a party set packed with covers. There's some footage I've linked to down below. So the cover-ups are a band consisting of Green Day's Billie Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt of Green Day, along with their tech manager Bill Schneider, audio engineer Chris Duggan, and touring guitarist Jason White. They played a number of surprise cover shows last year, but they returned for 2 special gigs over Christmas, culminating in New Year's Eve party where Guns N' Roses bassist Duff McKagan joined the band for a rendition of the Damned's Neat Neat Neat. And I've put a link to that below. So earlier in the festive season, the cover-ups performed another secret show in Albany, New York on December 19th, where they covered many classic tracks like by the likes of Nirvana, Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, Bryan Adams, and INXS, and more. So you guys can go check out the link down below. There's also some footage of them doing the Nirvana cover, Drain You, Suffragette City by David Bowie, as well as All the Young Dudes by David Bowie as well. Turning now to some Steven Adler news. So Steven was spotted, he posted this photo on Instagram. This is him with Jesse Hughes of the Eagles of Death Metal. If you guys remember, these guys opened for Guns N' Roses back in 2006 on their US tour. I think they played 1 or 2 nights with Guns, and then Axl basically kicked them off the tour because he referred to them as the pigeons of shit metal. Then they got in this war of words, and Jesse Hughes has basically been riding Axl's coattails like the last 10 or 12 years or so. And then they just recently covered It's So Easy on their latest album they put out. And it was on YouTube, but it's no longer on there. But it was a pretty horrible cover of It's So Easy. So Jesse went to one of the Adler shows that he's been playing with his band Adler's Appetite at the Whiskey A Go Go in LA. Turning now to Dizzy's band Hookers and Blows. So they've been playing some shows recently, with Guns on taking a hiatus here. And former Guns N' Roses touring member Roberta of the famed duo Tracy and Roberta actually showed up to his gig. She didn't get on stage with them and jam. I thought that might have been cool, but she just took some video and posted it on Facebook. Turning now to some non-GNR news. So according to Loudwire, it's rare, but Metallica has been known to unplug from time to time and play acoustic performances. So they released a country version, or some people say it's a bluesy version of Four Horsemen. And one of those occasions happened last fall when the band hosted their All Within My Hands Foundation benefit in San Francisco, and they revealed a rather unique rendition of the classic track Four Horsemen from that appearance. So the group gives the track a more country-tinged arrangement as they perform for those in attendance, and James Hetfield said it sounds a little different. And you can hear him making that remark at the end of the performance. So if you like what you heard, the performance of the song will be included in Metallica's upcoming Helping Hands live and acoustic at the Masonic releases that basically comes out on February 1st on colored vinyl and through digital and streaming services. So during their performance last November, the group raised $1.3 million for their charitable organization through both the concert and an auction that took place during the festivities. So the money raised was then split between Feeding America and the American Association of Community Colleges Organizations. After some time off for the holidays, of course, Metallica is going to fire up their touring machine later this month, and they're going to be doing a tribute show at the Chris Cornell Tribute on January 16th, and they'll start a new leg of the tour starting January 18th at Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that does it for today's news video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, be sure to go hit the like button and subscribe for the latest and greatest Guns N' Roses news. And let me know your thoughts on all the stories in the comment section below. Which one was your favorite story? And I also want to let you guys know that I've got a newsletter sign up on my website, gnrcentral.com. So if you guys want to get the latest news delivered on a weekly basis and what true story episodes I posted on YouTube, you're going to get that on a weekly newsletter. So you just go to gnrcentral.com and there should be a pop-up that just asks you to sign up for your email. And it's pretty straightforward. So I'm planning on sending that weekly. I haven't decided which day I'd like to send it out, but maybe Friday. It's kind of like a good way to get a good start on your weekend. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.
Hey, this is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, and you're watching GNR Central. Yeah!